fade into the real Sam. Hey, what's up everyone? If all went well, you should have just seen a cool little intro using the MetaHumans and Rokoko, our Rokoko software. My name is Sam, I'm the creative director for Rokoko, and I'm pumped to do our second Rokoko animation hour. So this is a series of videos where I'm just kind of playing around with our tools in a more relaxed way as opposed to our tutorials, which are a little bit more formal. And so in this one, we're going to play around with the new Unreal MetaHumans. We're going to be using the example setup scene that we've provided for free, and we have links in the description below. You can also find that link in our guide, our written guide, which again, there will be a link in the description below for. So yeah, in this video, I'm basically going to use that demo project, show you how to get it all set up for your Rokoko streaming, and including face capture, as you hopefully just saw if everything went well, which I think it will. And yeah, it should be fun. And the other thing we're going to do is try to record actually some full performance capture, so body, hands, face, motion capture into Unreal, which is something we don't have a formal tutorial for because we don't really have a formal process for it, but we're working on that, and this is kind of the first taste of that, so hopefully this will be useful. Quick shout out, just before we get started, JS Films. I've been looking at a lot of their videos in order to try and get this to work. They've been playing with the MetaHumans a lot, so yeah, JS Films, whoever you are, this guy right here, you're awesome. Thanks for all your content. Go check them out if you want to get into this more. You know, there's a lot of MetaHuman content out there these days. The MetaHuman creator hasn't been released yet, right? This is a sample project. So we're going to have to kind of relearn the workflow when the actual full software is released. So yeah, let's get into it. So to get started, again, go to our guide, download this MetaHuman Rokoko demo project. And here I've already downloaded it right here. So we will just extract this and you know, hard cut to this being done. It's done. So here's the extracted file. I'm just going to open it up, and in it you'll see you just have a basic, you know, Unreal 4.26 project. Here's the project right here, and everything is saved in there. So let's open up that project. So as we go forward, we'll see if I get any crashes. This demo project is heavy. This is the sample project that they released, Unreal released. You know, I assume when MetaHuman Creator is like the real software is released, they'll have solved and maybe optimized it a little bit better. But I do often get crashes when working with MetaHumans as of right now. Beware of that, especially if you have a smaller machine. You know, there's ways that we can take down the LOD to kind of help out with that. And yeah, I mean, you know, it just is what it is, I think, with this project right now. So I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. Whoop. And put myself over here. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so we're in the project. Here we go. Uh-oh. Select my MetaHuman, F. And yeah, here's our MetaHuman. So the MetaHuman has already been reposed to a T-pose in the sample project, so we don't need to do any of that. What we need to do first and foremost is make some changes to the blueprints to reflect like our Rokoko setup. So let's do that now. So if we go to the content browser, you know, if you go to content, and you'll see this Rokoko demo content folder here. And in that, you have our 3 primary blueprints, which are set up. The thing is, we do need to make some changes to reflect our system, you know, because some of the things for these blueprints rely on, like, using the name of your actor profile in Rokoko Studio. So let's go ahead and do that first. So, and also, I have Rokoko Studio open right here. It's not set up with my gloves and face yet, but what's important to know is 2 things in Rokoko Studio. 1, your actor profile name. So this is the, you know, you're going to assign your suit and your gloves and your face to your actor profile. Again, my gloves aren't plugged in yet because we're not there yet. But Sam is my actor profile name, right? This is the Rokoko actor that we're porting over to Unreal. So this is live streaming into Unreal, into the MetaHuman. The other thing that we need to know is just in our live streaming settings under Rokoko Studio Live, which again, you can always get to by this live stream on, it says start live stream if you don't have anything turned on. But for Unreal, we are streaming out to port 1405. That's also important. So we can fix that part of the Unreal project right now. So let's go back to the Unreal project. And you can see in here we have a Rokoko receiver. And so this is set by default to 1403 when you download it. Again, we just saw that we're going to be streaming to 14045. First thing we'll do, change that. 14045. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter this live link face subject. So I'll get back to this when we turn on the live link, but I like to do this first when I'm opening up the project because sometimes when I enter this information in, it will crash Unreal. I don't know why. So I do it before I've turned on live link or like messed around with anything else in case I have a crash. I can restart now before I've put a bunch of work in. So what we're going to enter here is actor : that actor profile name, Sam, that we just saw. Remember, we just assigned our body to Sam. Bring it back. Sam, right? So actor : Sam : face. See if we get a crash. We didn't get a crash. So that's good. So I do those two things first. Next, we're going to open up the blueprints and make a few changes to those. So let's open up our body, our shirt, and our face blueprints. Those are the blueprints that govern the MetaHumans. Right now, again, when they release the full MetaHuman package, it'll probably change. But for right now, these are the three blueprints that matter for controlling your MetaHuman. And what we need to do in here is we need to change this Rokoko actor name to Sam. Again, the actor profile that we have in Rokoko Studio. So Rokoko actor name, and down here you can see that the name is actor name right now. We're going to put in Sam. Click anywhere and you'll see, apply. And if you don't see this, like sometimes I'll miss this if I have my window when it opens and like the apply is underneath my screen, but it's there. As soon as you enter in a new value under that Rokoko actor name, Sam, you need to hit apply, compile, save. Don't mind these errors. We've made some changes to our body map, bone map, which we're going to cover in another tutorial. But again, for the purposes of this project that's already set up for you, don't mind these errors, right? It doesn't matter. Jump back into our main project. Get the shirt open. Gonna do the same thing. Rokoko actor name. Sam. Click anywhere. Apply. Compile. Save. And we're gonna do the face. So for the face, we need to actually do two things. We need to go over to this cache pose, and we need to break these nodes, which this might already be done in a later version of this demo project because we just need to correct this because this could be saved out without these nodes connected. So, but make sure that these cache pose nodes are disconnected. And then we're going to do the same thing for that Rokoko actor name. This one looks a little bit different, but it's right here. You can see Rokoko actor name, Sam, apply, compile, save. And I'm just going to keep these guys. No, I'm going to close them because we don't need them open. And this project is so heavy, I just will do anything that I can to keep it light. So close any tabs I don't need open. Okay, so at this point, I'm trying to think. We're looking pretty good. We're ready to jump into Rokoko Studio, get our character set up, and start some live streaming. So that's kind of the setup that you need to do. Again, it's changing that port number to what you have in Rokoko Studio. It's changing under BP, the blueprint for the MetaHuman. It's changing that live link face subject. Remember, you want to do that first. And then it's going in and changing the blueprint. Again, that actor name, changing the blueprint. So the last thing that we would do is turn on Live Link right here and add our Rokoko Studio source. But if we add it right now, see, we don't have the face set up. So I'm just going to get everything set up in Rokoko Studio, and then we're going to add it after I'm ready to go. So hard cut to me setting up, you know, my whole character in Rokoko Studio. Hard cut. Okay. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and gotten my suit on, and it's powered up. I got my gloves on. I have it assigned to my actor profile. I haven't actually done a straight pose calibration pose, which is why it looks so odd, because I want to get my iPhone, which we can enter the screen. I'm recording on the screen, and I'm going to turn on my Rokoko remote. So this is something that you can enable. You know, we have a free 30-day trial to play around with it. And then also you can pay for it by the month. So you can get a bunch of face capturing done when you need it and then like turn it off for the other month. You know, you can turn it on for 1 month and use it. So I think it's a pretty great deal to have access to something that, while you could maybe use the built-in Unreal tools to do this, it's nice having everything in one package, I think. You know, having one mocap system kind of all working in concert, and especially because we might record something in Rokoko Studio and live stream that into Unreal. So you don't just need to live stream like a live person into Unreal. You can also live stream recorded assets into Unreal, and it'll make more sense later when we get into like recording something into Unreal. But in the meantime, that turned off, so I'm going to restart. Recording, slide it over, open up Rokoko Remote. As soon as we do, we're going to get this little thing up here in the top of Rokoko Studio. Connect. We're going to get a prompt on our iPhone, accept, turn on face capture. And in this case, I have a helmet rig that I made, and we have a chest rig that we make as well that you can purchase, but for this I just kind of have it set up on this tripod, and that's how I'm going to use it, because I'm going to be standing still pretty much. So I'm going to drag in this face, and now we'll do a calibration pose, straight pose. Okay, there we go. So we have treadmill mode turned on. I'm actually going to turn that off. Treadmill mode just locks your character in place, and we have to do another calibration pose. Okay, there we go. We're not going to be stepping around, but we could if we want to. And here we go. So now we are ready to stream this into Unreal, into our MetaHuman. So let's give that a try. So this is all going to be happening in the background, right? I'm going to move this off the screen, but my character is all set up in Unreal Studio. I have my live stream on. It's on my other desktop. We're just going to jump back into Unreal. I'm also going to save this project. So as I said, it's prone to crashes. Like, that is the way that it is. This is a heavy project. I have a pretty beefy computer. I'm running 2080 Supers, which I don't think it works. I have them in SLI, but I don't think it matters. But even with the 2080 Supers, NVIDIA GTX 2080 Supers, I get crashes all the time. And you can turn down the LOD on your MetaHuman, but I'm not going to do that yet. We'll go through that in a moment. Okay. So now, remember how we didn't add that live link source? Now that we're all set up, I can add that. So I'm going to hit Studio, and now you see we get body and face. And I'm just going to move this guy. And so now, basically, as soon as I hit play, we should see the MetaHuman copying my movements. Let's see if it works here. Let's see if we get a crash. Play. Whoa! So I'm going to move the camera over here a little bit. And there we go. Everything working. MetaHuman streaming. pretty awesome. I mean, really awesome. Super cool. I wonder if I can, I feel like I'm talking like sideways, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that's how you get, this sample project set up and streaming. So this is, let's zoom in a little bit more maybe. And the closer you get with the metahumans, like the more detail you kind of get on the face, which also can increase the chance of a crash. Again, it's right now the level of detail is set to automatic, but we could lower it if we wanted to avoid getting a crash. I just like all the pores and everything, obviously. Looks really awesome. So there's also like a little bit of lag, and we're going to try and record something to fix that lag. But I just wanted to show that you can get it all working and up and running. Again, there's like a little lag because we have the level of detail set up high. This scene isn't really optimized. It's, we could delete more things in the scene and make it better maybe, but, let's take it for a little run. We can do some close my eyes. Get your fingers in there. Peace to the camera. What? Yeah. Shaka, brah. Yeah, I mean, all working. I can even try and step away. And I love how they add the wrinkle maps. It's all animated. If I scrunch up my nose, you can see those wrinkles. Really cool. And we get, full traversal. Kind of lost my face tracking there, and we would have to, here, let's do another straight pose in Rokoko Studio. Reset back to the origin. And the nice thing about this Face app on the iPhone is you can like record and you can do a straight pose right in the app. And yeah, awesome. Working really well. Shout out to our incredible Unreal team and everyone for making this happen. Yeah, okay, so this is live streaming, right, to our character. What if we want to record this? So, and then like have it in Unreal so we can place it in our scenes and everything, and have it like recorded in a way that is usable in a cutscene or something like that. So what I'm going to do for that is we're going to record a scene in Rokoko Studio, and then we're going to live stream that out to Unreal instead of like doing this live. So we're going to be live streaming a recorded mocap asset from Rokoko Studio into Unreal, if that makes sense. I'm not going to be like acting one-to-one with the MetaHuman. It's going to be the recording being streamed to the MetaHuman. And even, I could even, I wonder if I can pull this up right now. Here, we'll cancel this. I'm sorry if I'm going out of camera view. But here's our live again. This is live or whatever. Let's jump in and just select something from the sample project. So this is like, these are the sample files that come with Rokoko Studio, which again, you can download for free, and you get all these files right away if you want to test this out without actually, if you don't have an iPhone, you can still test out this workflow, because these are sample files that are provided for free when you download Rokoko Studio, which is free. So I'm going to leave this playing in Rokoko Studio, and if we jump back to Unreal and hit play, now it's just running off of that recorded mocap in Rokoko Studio, right? So that's what we're going to do for this. How do you record onto a MetaHuman in a way that is like more, not permanent, but like then that recording will exist in Unreal, right? So I'm gonna hit stop, and actually we're gonna kind of leave aside the MetaHuman for now, cancel this out, head back to our other anim hour project. And okay, now we're going to record that, hopefully again, if everything went right, that intro that you would have seen in the beginning of this tutorial. So I got to think for a second about what I want to say. Okay, let's do it. Get a straight pose. Boop. Hit straight pose. Good to do before you record anything, just because. Recenters your character and everything. And I'm going to do like a look up with my eyes closed. Hey everyone. Like that. Okay. And I'm actually going to increase, bring this microphone in nice and close here. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's do a recording. Hey everyone. Welcome to this MetaHuman demo using the Rokoko full performance capture system. We're going to get into it and play around with the system a little bit. And so, yeah, join me. Here we go. Fade into the real Sam. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me. Let's review that. Take one. Just make sure everything looked good. We got our little zoom up here. Looks good. Okay. Hard cut to me sitting back down because I'm not going to be standing up. I'm going to turn off this iPhone because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to work with this recording from now on. Hard cut. Bah. Okay. So, suit is off. Gloves are off. Now we are just working with this recording that we just made, right? So, we have this recording. And just right off the bat, let's get it going in Unreal. So again, I'm pulling this just off to the other screen. It's still open. And actually I'm just going to hit play on it. And because everything is still running in Unreal from when we left it. If we hit play in Unreal, there we go. Look, it's all working already. So this is right. This is the recording we just made, right? And now we have it streaming to Unreal, even though I'm not like doing it anymore. We have the recording streaming to Unreal. So I think again, we're still like working through these workflows. This is all very new technology. In my opinion, the best way to get data retargeted to your character, because currently you can't, it's difficult to retarget recorded facial animation within Unreal. So it's easier to record that animation in Sequencer, even though that is fraught with problems, as we will probably see and find out. So that's kind of the best way to get like an offline retargeting of your mocap into Unreal, if that makes sense, right? Which is the cleanest thing, in my opinion, with Rokoko hardware anyway. You always kind of want to record, like the best mocap assets, I'm going to stop this, is always going to be what you record into Rokoko Studio, right here. We have all these live streaming tools for Blender and Maya and Unreal and Unity. And like you can get some cool virtual production stuff going maybe with them. But really, in my opinion, the best way, the most accurate mocap you're ever going to get is just recording straight into the system and not trying to like do a live recording in Unreal. Although again, you can, right? Anything that we're doing with this recorded asset in Unreal could be done with a live suit. It doesn't matter. All that Unreal knows is it's taking this actor profile data from Sam and it is putting that on the MetaHuman. It doesn't matter if it's pre-recorded data. It doesn't matter if it's live data. In this case, this is going to be pre-recorded data, but as you just saw, we were just doing live data. So in my opinion, it's always better to, if you have like a high quality mocap asset that you want to get into Unreal, record it into Rokoko Studio, and then either follow our retargeting tutorials for Unreal and like retarget it onto a character in Unreal, or use this method to record it onto a character in Unreal. But like the streaming it into Unreal and then recording it while you're streaming it, it's just, it's a lot for a system to handle. And unless you have really, a really fast computer and everything's working, it's good to like check out characters and stuff, but it's not really good to get like these high fidelity performances in there, in my opinion. I think I'm a pretty good authority on the topic coming from Rokoko. So that's our recommendation. I'll just say it now. That's our official recommendation. Although it's totally possible, and you can use virtual production tools and stuff like that, I would just retarget the content onto your character in Unreal from recorded content. Okay, rant over. So we have this recording. Let's get it recorded onto our character in Unreal. So I'm going to, again, move this over. And so what we're going to do here is, we're going to save, because this is where the crash fun starts. This is where I get a lot of crashes and stuff. I'm going to move this slightly so you guys can just see what's happening here. Okay, so how do we record this onto our MetaHuman character? What we're going to do is we're going to create a new sequence, and then we're going to record this BP MetaHuman, and then we're going to try to get it all working as best we can. And again, as I said, that YouTuber in the beginning, I watched a bunch of their tutorials. They are awesome, and I think everyone's trying to catch up in terms of how to use these MetaHumans, which again is a little weird because this is not probably reflective of the final product. When they release MetaHuman Creator, we're going to have to kind of relearn how to do all this anyway. But for now, we have the sample project, so we'll do it in here. Okay. So what we're going to do, let's create a new sequence. Add level sequence. We're going to call it My Sequence. Very creative. Save it to the main level of the content folder. We go to our content browser. You can see that it's right here. Boop, boop, My Sequence, in case we need it. And so now that we have a sequence in there, right? And we go into sequencer, and here's our My Sequence or whatever. We get this option when we right click on our MetaHuman, record in sequencer. You could also like open up the sequence recorder and then like add the MetaHuman in there. I don't like doing that. This is the way that I'm doing it currently. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. So I'm going to go to the beginning of my animation, and I'm going to kind of get ready to play it. Because what we're going to do is hit record in Unreal and then play the animation, and then we'll have the animation in our sequence in Unreal, right? And again, if you didn't know this already, I'm still learning Unreal and still relatively noobish in all of this. So, there's probably a better way to do this, as I said before. Okay, let's try it. Right click, record BP MetaHuman. Okay, so the other thing actually we're going to do is we're going to hit play. We need to hit play first because we only get playback from Rokoko Studio when we hit play. And I'm also going to like kind of cruise farther away from the MetaHuman, so it's using a lower LOD, level of detail, right? Because I don't want this crashing, because all of this is heavy on the computer. The scene is heavy, MetaHuman's heavy, blah, blah, blah. We want a low level of detail. So we're currently playing, right? but if you hit Shift F1, you can get your mouse back. Shift F1, there's our mouse. Right click our BP MetaHuman. Record, we're gonna get a countdown. Get ready to play. 3, 2, play in Rokoko Studio. Now we're gonna let this play through. And we're just gonna basically record the take that we have going in Rokoko Studio. So, on this other screen, I have Rokoko Studio playing through that animation. And when that finishes, I'm like tracking it, it's almost done. We're gonna hit stop recording. So it's almost done. I'm saying that fade into the intro or whatever. It's getting to the end, almost at the end. Stop. There we go. Okay. Stop Rokoko Studio. And again, I was, it was during that countdown, it was like 4, 3, 2, and I hit play. And so it would start recording and at the appropriate time. Now I'm going to close Rokoko Studio because I don't want anything else running while we do this. Okay, so cut in the action there because I just went through this process and messed it up, but I've redone the project, and so we're back to where we just were a second ago. And so I'm going to move my video up a little bit, and so if we hit stop, right, we now have our original MetaHuman and our recorded sequence here. And if we play through, we can see that nothing is happening, but we can kind of see some weirdness happening. And actually, I'm going to get rid of our MetaHuman blueprint, and we're just going to work with this recorded sequence. And also, before we go forward, I should just say that, I'm still learning Unreal, and also this project is still very new. This MetaHuman project is still very new, so there's probably many other ways to do this, better ways to do this, but this is how I've so far figured out that one way to record and export, a recording that you've got in Unreal. Because what we just did is we recorded something to our sequence, and now we can, hopefully export it properly out of Unreal. So we've got our recorded sequence, but if you hit play, and actually let's go through here and increase this timeline. And we will increase this, the in and out point. And so if you hit play, you can see that we have the face moving, but the body isn't moving, and the shirt isn't moving. And also the face is not moving in space, right? It's just the blend shapes moving. So we need to do a couple things to get everything working for an export. And so we'll try to do that now. And again, this is all pretty messy, and we'll probably have to redo all of this when MetaHuman Creator comes out, but that's what Rokoko Animation Hour is. It's a little bit less formal. We're trying to figure things out, so let's try to figure them out. So I'm in my sequencer. I've deleted my original blueprint, and I've still got this recorded sequence. If I double click it, I can jump in, and we have this MISC folder, and here's all of our recordings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this body animation, and I'm on frame 6. And I'm going to, if we hit disable post-process blueprint, what's going to happen, and actually I'm going to also disable my live link, right? Kill that. And if we hit disable post-process blueprint, we actually get the proper animation happening. And so that was just for the, the body. We can do the same thing for the shirt. Let's go down to our torso. Torso is shirt, right? Click the animation under torso, click disable post-process blueprint. And now when we drag around, look at that. We've got our animation. We run into some problems, however, especially if we start rendering this, because as soon as we get out of this, let's say we drag this all the way to the left, boop, now it's not working anymore, right? And that's because if we go back to animation, this is not clicked anymore. I don't know why. I'm a noob at Unreal, so if you know why, comment below. my method of getting around this is just to keyframe this disable post-process blueprint. So I'm going to be doing this at frame 5. We've got our animation, right? Disable, keyframe it. Then I'm going to go up to the body, click the animation, disable post-process blueprint, click it. And now we have this, and I believe even if we go to the left, let's try it. Yeah, it'll stick around because of those keyframes. But obviously the face is not working correctly, right? So how do we fix that? So we're going to go to frame 5. We're going to select the facial animation, and we have the same kind of problem here. We are going to change the animation mode to use animation asset. And then we're going to select this recorded sequence BP MetaHuman 013, which is that recorded face. So select that. And now, looky. But I think we're going to run into the same problem. Essentially, if we go to the left, right, it's not going to stick around. So let's go to frame 5. Here's our little frame counter. Select the animation. This went back to use animation blueprint. We're going to go to use animation asset, recorded sequence, and we're going to keyframe it there. And now this should be working. So we go to the left, we come back, and right, it's still working. So there we go. So what I just did a second ago when I skipped, you saw that little jump, but I'm wearing my headphones now. That was because I instead of using this recorded sequence, I was trying to add these animations onto our blueprint of our character and so I deleted the recorded sequence, which still left the recording in my project. And then I tried to basically, for our blueprinted MetaHuman, I was going to body, like adding a track, adding animation, and then I was scrolling down to this 01 recorded sequence and adding it. But that doesn't seem to work very well. I don't, again, this is like not an official way to do this. This is just one way that I have been able to figure out how to record a sequence and be able to export it out, right? Like a proper export, which we're going to try and do in a second. So this is quite laggy, as you can tell. Don't know why, because it's a heavy project. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a camera. Create new camera. Hopefully we won't get any crashes. I'm going to save this guy. Thinking. Okay, saved. We are piloting our camera. I'm going to get it into position a little bit here. And I'm going to increase the aperture or the focal length because I like it at a higher focal length. Excuse my burp. Get down. Okay. And there we go. And now I'm just going to, manual focus distance. I'm going to reduce this, bring her into focus. And actually the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to eject out of this camera. And I'm going to go up and grab that key light and give our character a little bit more light. So I'm going to grab this key light that they already have set up in this project. Drag it over here a little bit. Rotate it. R is the hotkey. Choop. Rotate it down. Choop. Rotate it over a little bit. We can click on that to see if the lighting is good. Yeah, it's good. Then we'll jump back into that Cine Camera Actor. And now it's kind of in shadow actually, so let me go back and grab this fella, bring it over a little bit more, put her in some more light. Yeah, so now she's a little bit more evenly lit. Jump back into our Cine Camera Actor, and there we go. So the way that this recorded sequence is currently set up is that the level of detail is set by your kind of distance to the character. So we're going to leave, that's fine, I think, for now for us. And we're going to try and export this out. Again, it looks like I moved the camera a little bit, so I'm going to change the distance, length, and just make sure that she is really in focus. Check it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now if we try to do an export, I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit more. Find a frame when she's looking at us. Again, check the focal distance. Looks pretty good. Let's try and do a render. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to, first I'm just going to make sure my other ones are out. Yep, I don't have any. Okay. If we go to this render this movie to a video, it's going to render it from that camera that we set up. We're going to render out a PNG. And we're going to do it at 1920 by 1080. I've tried doing 4K, but again, my beefy machine has been crashing whenever I've tried doing that. So stick with 1080 and let's capture movie. Hopefully we won't get a crash. We'll save it too. And we'll see what happens. Nervously waiting. And look, it's actually working. So we are going to release more tutorials on this because we really have we've never really put out a lot of tutorials on how to do this recording, right? You know, you can stream live into Unreal, but getting this face capture retargeted onto a face, the retargeting system doesn't really work for that. So this might be the best method to do that, to record, you know, your blueprint to your sequence, and that might be the cleanest way to go about doing this. And so, yeah, there we go. It's rendering out. I would love to do it at 4K if I could, but it'll crash my computer, so I'm not going to. And yeah, we can set this, you know, with our recording track, and you know, I think also kind of the performance here, we could redo this if I was going to actually try and get something a little bit better in terms of like matching the expression and my you know, my facial, you know, trying to be really, give a really emotional performance. This was kind of a quick recording that we did, but for the purposes of trying to do this, I think it worked. We'll close this, and if we go to our, you know, in our project here, saved video captures, we have boom, boom, boom. So the last thing that we can do is just quickly go over how to change the level of detail in your blueprint, and the way that I have found to do that is if you double click your MetaHuman blueprint, like your main one, and you go to LOD sync, and so here you have forced LOD, and so this is -1, if I remember from the manual of the MetaHumans, is basically that is changing the level of detail based on like your distance to the character. The closer in, the higher the level of detail is. We can set this manually. 0 is going to be the highest level of detail. 1 is less, and then all the way down to 8, which was like for mobile applications. So if you end up with weird results with this process, which you probably will, because again, this is all temporary kind of until the full thing is released, try messing around with this level of detail, because occasionally it's causing too much strain on your computer, and then you know, you're gonna get odd results. Like I had where was it? I had, let's see if I can go grab this. Hold on. So this was a test that I'd done, and you can see I'm getting some really odd results with the neck here. And that went away when I lowered that level of detail. So this method was actually when I was playing around, and I was taking that blueprint and assigning those recordings to that. So if we want, like, we can try and do that really quickly. Go to sequencer, delete all of this, delete everything, delete our yeah, so that's she's gone now from our scene. But if we were to say add her into the scene, oh golly. No, I don't want to place her outside the current level. I want to place her in the level. So put her right there. Okay, sure, whatever. And we go over to her, bring her over a little bit. And so if we, that method was done by me going to my sequencer, clicking on my BP MetaHuman, track actor to sequencer, add her in to my sequence, delete these control rigs, and then going to like body or BP human, selecting body, which is already in there, adding a track. How do I do that? Going to body, track, animation. And then we have our recorded animations down here, 01, right? Not at frame 1, bad. And then if I take this and I disable that post-process again, there we go. Now it's now it's working, and that's on, because once we've recorded our animation into our project, we can assign it to her blueprint. We don't have to use that animation that showed up when we recorded it, I could go to the torso here, track, animation, actually I forget how I did this. So this is confusing. I don't know. You go to torso, like try to add animation asset. There's that recording. Disable post process. It's playing. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a mess. It's this blueprint. This MetaHuman project is still a work in progress. Anyway, hopefully this was all helpful. And that's it. That's kind of playing around with the MetaHumans and exporting out something. And we're gonna have more tutorials coming out about this soon. And we actually need to go in and we're gonna be re-releasing some of our Unreal tutorials as we've kind of improved our workflows. And so stay tuned for that. And take you out on that animation we exported. And there you go. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next Rokoko Animation Hour. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.